I met my best friend Ava when we were 10 years old, two awkward kids paired together for a school project about sea turtles. We were total opposites. She was loud, fearless, and always chasing the spotlight, while I was quiet, thoughtful, more of a behind-the-scenes kind of girl. But somehow we clicked. Maybe it was because she made me laugh when I was too shy to speak, or maybe because I helped her actually finish our schoolwork without getting distracted. Either way, we grew up like sisters. We spent every summer at each other's houses, helped each other through heartbreaks, family drama, even career struggles. I honestly thought we'd grow old together, matching rocking chairs and all. I'm 29 now. I work in corporate marketing at a mid-sized company. Nothing flashy, but I've built something I'm proud of. I've been grinding for years, moving up slowly but steadily, and recently I was shortlisted for a major promotion. It was a huge deal, director level, overseeing a regional branch, something Ava had always dreamed of herself. But she took a different path. After college, she dabbled in a few fields, PR, social media, event planning, but nothing really stuck. She always made it sound like she chose not to settle, but deep down, I think she resented that I found stability. The thing is, Ava had this subtle way of keeping score. She'd joke about how she was the fun one, while I was the boring career girl, or how she'd never trade her freedom for Excel sheets and business casual. It didn't seem malicious at first, just teasing between old friends. But as I started hitting personal milestones, especially the kind she hadn't reached yet, the jokes got sharper. Like when I bought my condo, she said, "Wow, must be nice not having to split rent." Then again, I guess silence is cheap. Or when I got engaged to my fiancé, Lucas, she smiled and said, "Guess all those spreadsheets finally paid off." Lucas and I had been together for 3 years, and he was everything Ava used to say she wanted in a partner. Kind, loyal, supportive without being overbearing. We met at a mutual friend's game night, and even though I was skeptical at first, I've had my fair share of letdowns. He was patient, funny, and never once made me feel like I was too much or not enough. We got engaged last fall after a quiet weekend trip to the coast, and I was still floating on air when I told Ava. At first, she seemed happy. She squealed, asked to see the ring, made a big deal about maid of honor duties, but something in her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I told myself I was overthinking it. She was probably just surprised. I hadn't told many people we were even talking about marriage. But that uneasy feeling lingered, especially when she started making weird comments about Lucas. Subtle things, like, "You sure he's not too boring for you?" Or, "He seems really into you. Maybe a little too into you, you know?" Then came the passive-aggressive suggestions. "You should do a prenup, just in case," she said one night over drinks. "You've worked so hard. What if he's just in it for the security? Or worse, you've always been a little too trusting. Not everyone's as honest as you." I tried brushing it off. She was just being protective, right? But the comments started piling up. Lucas, for his part, never said anything negative about Ava. He actually thought she was a little intense but funny, and I appreciated that he didn't try to come between us. I wanted to believe Ava would come around. I wanted to believe that after 15 years of friendship, she'd stand by me like she always had. But then weird things started happening. Lucas got a message from an unknown number, screenshots of texts supposedly between me and another man. They were grainy, poorly cropped, and clearly fake if you looked closely. But they were just believable enough to plant a seed of doubt. The timing, the formatting, it mimicked the way I actually texted. Someone had clearly taken time to mimic my style, down to the way I used emojis and abbreviations. Lucas showed me right away, confused and a little hurt. I laughed at first, thinking it was some scam or spam. But as I looked closer, my stomach dropped. Someone was trying to make it look like I was cheating. And not just randomly. They'd chosen a co-worker of mine who Lucas had met once at a company picnic, a guy I'd barely interacted with outside of group meetings. It was calculated. And there was only one person I could think of who had access to both my private life and enough detail to pull something like this off. I didn't say anything at first. Not to Ava, not to anyone. I told Lucas I'd look into it, and asked him to trust me. He did. Bless him, he said, "I know this isn't you. But whoever did this is trying to mess with our relationship, and I want to know who." So did I. But more than that, I wanted to be sure before I accused the person I used to call my sister. That was the moment everything started to unravel. The texts were just the beginning. Next came whispers from mutual friends. how Ava had concerns about my relationship, how she'd been telling people Lucas was controlling and emotionally manipulative. She never said it outright, just planted enough seeds that people started looking at me funny. But the real knife in the back? A week before my engagement party, I overheard her talking to someone on the phone, bragging about how she'd saved Lucas from a huge mistake, how he deserved better, and how she couldn't wait until the truth came out. She didn't know I was around the corner. She didn't see me standing there, heart pounding, jaw clenched, hand gripping my phone so tightly I thought it might shatter. I didn't confront her. Not then. I just walked away, quietly, let her think she was winning. That was the day I stopped seeing Ava as a friend and started seeing her as someone I didn't recognize at all. And I knew I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Not this time. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, running through every memory, every moment I'd shared with Ava, trying to figure out where things went wrong. Was it when I got the condo? When Lucas came into the picture? Or had this resentment been building for years under my nose, hidden behind forced smiles and backhanded compliments? For a few days, I went through the motions, smiling, planning the engagement party, responding to texts. But my mind was somewhere else, strategizing, observing, connecting dots I had ignored for too long. I was quiet, but I wasn't stupid. I kept all of Ava's messages. I pulled every interaction we'd had in the past 6 months and started noticing patterns. Comments she made about Lucas, questions she asked about our relationship, things she repeated to mutual friends. She'd been planting landmines for months. Then I heard from my coworker Jared, the same one who appeared in the fake screenshots. He approached me in the break room, looking visibly uncomfortable. "Hey, I just thought you should know. Someone sent me a really weird message about you," he said, scratching the back of his neck. "They said you were obsessed with me, that you'd been talking about me constantly and trying to start something behind your fiancé's back." I blinked. "Wait, what? Who told you that?" He hesitated. "They didn't give a name. It was from a burner account on Instagram. But they knew stuff, like your birthday, where we work, even your favorite coffee order." I blocked them, but I figured you'd want to know. I managed a tight smile. "Thanks, Jared. I really appreciate it." I walked back to my desk, locked myself in the nearest single-stall bathroom, and just sat there for a minute. Hands shaking, mouth dry. It was worse than I thought. Ava wasn't just trying to sabotage my relationship. She was trying to ruin me. My name, my job, my sanity. The thing is, she was good at it. She didn't leave fingerprints. She used anonymous accounts. Never said anything publicly. Just enough to make people doubt me, but not enough to trace it back to her easily. But I knew her tells. I knew the words she used. The phrasing. The emojis. The tone. I started saving everything. Screenshots, timestamps, call logs. I even reached out to a tech-savvy friend who helped me trace one of the burner account's activity back to a Starbucks IP address Ava frequently used. It wasn't definitive proof, but it was close. I still didn't say anything. I didn't warn her. I didn't confront her. I just let her keep digging. But then she crossed a line I didn't see coming. 2 days before my engagement party, Lucas got a call from his mom. Sweet woman. We'd gotten close over the past year. She was excited to help with the wedding and had even offered to host a small family dinner before the big day. But when Lucas answered, her tone was cold. I didn't know what to say when I saw it. "Lucas," she said, her voice tight. I thought she was a good person. Lucas frowned. "Mom, what are you talking about?" "She sent me proof," she continued. "Screenshots, messages, a voice recording. I don't know what to think." My heart dropped as I watched him go pale. "Wait, who sent you something?" he asked. "She didn't give her name," she replied. "Just said she was a concerned friend. Said you deserved the truth." She emailed everything. Lucas hung up after assuring her he trusted me and would get to the bottom of it. Then he showed me the email. It was bad. The screenshots were more refined now. Cropped cleaner. Included timestamps. Fabricated messages where I supposedly admitted to cheating, said I was only with Lucas for his stability, even mocked his family behind their backs. There was an audio clip too, just a few seconds of someone who sounded vaguely like me, laughing and saying, "He's so gullible. It's almost cute." My blood ran cold. The voice wasn't mine, but it had been edited to sound like me. Someone had taken old recordings from videos I'd sent Ava, mashed them together, and created a Frankenstein version of me saying things I never said. Lucas looked at me. His eyes were steady. I don't believe this, he said firmly. I know this isn't you. But this is serious. Someone's trying to destroy you. I nodded, trying not to cry. I know who it is. And that's when he finally saw it too. We sat down and went over everything together. Timeline, messages, Ava's behavior. The more we talked, the clearer it became. Ava had been planning this for a while. She didn't just want to sabotage our relationship. She wanted to replace me. Lucas looked disgusted. She's been trying to get me to doubt you from the start. All those weird questions. The random texts. It makes sense now. And then he paused. You know, she DM'd me once. Months ago. Said she wanted to grab coffee sometime, just to chat about you. I thought it was weird, but didn't think much of it. I clenched my fists. She's not done. She'll probably show up to the party. Lucas blinked. You think she'd actually crash it? I know she will. She wants attention. She wants chaos. She wants everyone to see her as the real friend and me as the liar. Lucas was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. Okay. Then we let her come. I stared at him. What? He gave a small, cold smile. Let her come. Let her play her game. And we'll be ready. I didn't know what that meant exactly, but I trusted him. And for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Not because things were okay, but because we were okay. And I was done letting Ava dictate my life from the shadows. The next day at work, something strange happened. My boss called me into her office and shut the door. Close the blinds too, she said, her voice low. I obeyed, heart thudding. She smiled. Relax. This is good news. I blinked. What? She leaned forward. You've been promoted. I sat down hard in the chair. Effective immediately, she continued. We want you leading the regional rebrand. It's going to be high profile, high pressure, but you've earned it. I could barely speak. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. She grinned. Funny thing is, we were considering 2 people for the job. You and Ava. I froze. She kept talking, unaware of the storm now brewing behind my eyes. She did a few freelance campaigns for us through the agency, you know? Talented, but we got some odd feedback about her. A little too eager to throw others under the bus. And she said a few strange things in her proposal. Almost like she was trying to discredit you. I nodded slowly. I'm not surprised. That night, I opened Instagram and saw that Ava had posted a selfie captioned, Big things coming. Dream job loading. I stared at the screen. My fingers itched to type something. Anything. But I didn't. I just smiled. Because she was going to find out at the party. And she would never see it coming. For a while, it felt like I was living 2 separate lives. On the surface, everything looked perfect. Promotion secured. Engagement moving forward. Lucas and I closer than ever. But underneath, I was unraveling. I didn't cry when Ava tried to destroy my relationship. I didn't break down when she doctored fake screenshots or whispered lies into the ears of people I once considered friends. But after the call from Lucas's mother, after seeing her shaken by that email and hearing doubt crackle in her voice, I finally lost it. I waited until Lucas was asleep. Then I slipped into the guest bathroom, closed the door, and sank to the cold tiles, hugging my knees to my chest. I didn't scream. I didn't punch the wall. I just sat there, letting silent tears spill down my face like I was leaking from somewhere I couldn't patch. 15 years of memories clawed at me. Sleepovers, graduation photos, inside jokes only she and I understood. She helped me pick my college. She held my hand the first time I got dumped. She stood behind me while I tried on my engagement dress. And now she was trying to destroy everything she once celebrated. It wasn't just betrayal. It was grief. Grief for the friendship I thought was real. Grief for the person I thought she was. And grief has a way of forcing clarity. The next morning, I got up early and went for a walk. No makeup, messy bun, hoodie, sneakers, just me and the chilly air, trying to remember who I was before this whole mess began. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't check my phone. No doom scrolling. No fake screenshots. No messages from friends caught in the crossfire. Just silence. And in that silence, I remembered something important. I hadn't done anything wrong. Ava was loud. Ava was dramatic. Ava knew how to spin a story and steal the room. But I had something she didn't. Patience. Discipline. The ability to stay calm in a storm, even when I was drowning. So I stopped hiding. Quietly, steadily, I started pulling myself back together. I blocked the burner accounts. Every last one of them. I flagged the email that went to Lucas's mom and filed a report. Then I met with my tech-savvy friend again. This time, we went deeper. We traced metadata, VPN footprints, phone numbers attached to recovery emails. It wasn't enough for a lawsuit yet, but the digital fingerprints were starting to stack up. I also began documenting everything. Every time Ava posted something vague. Every time she left a comment under mutual friends' posts that hinted at knowing the real story. Every anonymous tip someone forwarded to me. I kept it all in a secure folder titled Phoenix. Because that's what I felt like now. Not a victim. Not a ruined bride-to-be. Something smoldering. Something ready to rise. Lucas stood by me through all of it. I think that's what broke Ava the most. Seeing that no matter what she tried, he didn't flinch. He didn't run. In fact, he started getting more protective, more vocal, more present. He even suggested we start couples therapy, not because anything was wrong, but because, in his words, I don't want the damage she tried to cause to leave any bruises we don't notice. We went. Weekly. And it helped. A lot. Meanwhile, I threw myself into work. The regional rebrand was intense. Long hours, tight deadlines, pressure from both HQ and local clients. But I thrived in it. I rediscovered the part of me that loved solving problems, leading a team, creating something from scratch. I started getting recognition, emails from executives, shout-outs on calls, even a few messages from younger women in the company saying they looked up to me. And you know what? That meant more to me than Ava's approval ever did. Still, there were moments that stung. Like when I saw mutual friends posting selfies with her, captioned with things like ride or die, or real ones only. I knew those were aimed at me, and when I ran into one of them at a networking event, she looked surprised to see me at all. "Oh," she said, forcing a smile. "Didn't expect you to show up." I tilted my head. "Why not?" She hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "Well, Ava said you'd taken some time off. You know, after everything." I sipped my wine. "What exactly is everything?" She blinked. "I mean the breakup. Wait, are you and Lucas still?" I smiled. "Engaged?" "Yeah." "What?" She stammered, cheeks flushing, and I let her twist in the awkwardness. Then I turned away, joining a different conversation like she was nothing more than a hiccup in my night. Because I was done playing defense. A few weeks before the engagement party, something unexpected happened. Ava's ex, Mason, reached out. We hadn't spoken in over a year, since he and Ava broke up, actually. It was a messy split. She said he was too jealous, too controlling, but I always got the sense she wasn't telling the whole story. So when he messaged me on LinkedIn of all places, I was intrigued. "Hey, long time. I know this is random, but can we talk? I think we need to compare notes." We met at a quiet cafe 2 towns over. I brought Lucas. Mason came alone. He looked tired. Not unhealthy, just emotionally weathered. We talked for nearly 2 hours. And what he told me confirmed everything I suspected. "She did the same thing to me," he said. "Manipulated people. Lied about texts. Made up stories to pit me against my friends." I thought I was crazy by the end. He said she'd been obsessed with control, always needing to be the center of attention, always feeling threatened when someone else had a life without her. "She kept talking about you. Even when we were together," he added. "How you were too perfect. How she had to keep you grounded. She made it sound like your happiness was something she had to manage." Lucas clenched his jaw. I just nodded, quietly, not surprised. Then Mason leaned forward. "She's been spiraling lately. I heard from a mutual friend that she's planning something for your engagement party." I already knew that. But then he said something that caught me completely off guard. "She's been telling people you slept with me behind Lucas's back." I stared at him. Lucas stiffened beside me. "She's what?" Mason held up his hands. "I swear, I didn't say a word to anyone." I shut it down immediately. "But she's laying groundwork. Trying to paint you as some serial cheater. I thought you deserved to know." I sat back in my chair, mind racing. This wasn't a game anymore. Ava wasn't just jealous. She was unstable. Dangerous in the way a tornado is, beautiful from a distance, but chaos up close. And yet, I didn't feel panic. I felt peace. Because now I had the last piece of the puzzle. She had crossed every line. And at the party, I was going to make sure everyone saw it. But first, I had one more thing to do. Something just for me. I booked a photo shoot. Just me. No Lucas. No ring. No white dress. Just a black power suit, red lipstick, and the cold confidence of someone who had survived a personal war and come out stronger. I didn't post the photos right away. I saved them. Labeled them Final Form. Because this version of me, the one who wasn't scared, wasn't shrinking, wasn't silent, that's the version Ava was about to meet. And she wasn't ready. I didn't want revenge just to feel better. I wanted it to mean something. Not just a petty social media post or a dramatic scene in front of a crowd. No. I wanted Ava to understand, without a shred of doubt, that she had burned the last bridge in her life that actually mattered. That every lie, every manipulation, every smear campaign she launched behind my back wasn't forgotten. It was being documented. Quietly, carefully, and the moment she thought she'd won, I'd flip the script. The engagement party was 2 weeks away, and the RSVPs were still pouring in. Friends, co-workers, extended family, even a few of Lucas's childhood buddies were flying in from out of state. I had no doubt Ava would be there, even though she never received an invitation. She wouldn't miss the opportunity to create chaos. And I was counting on it. Lucas and I spent the next few days tightening our plan. He'd already talked to his mother, who had tearfully apologized for believing the fake email. Once we explained everything and walked her through the proof, metadata, messages, the doctored audio clip, she was horrified. "Oh my God," she whispered. "That girl, she seemed so sweet." "They usually do," I said quietly. Lucas's mom didn't just believe us, she offered to help. So did a few other people, once the truth came out. Mason agreed to go on record and even provided a statement about Ava's past behavior. We didn't post anything publicly, not yet, but I started building what I called my truth portfolio, a digital file containing every lie, every fake screenshot, every manipulated message with cross-references, timestamps, and third-party confirmations. I knew Ava. She thrived in the gray zone, where everything was just blurry enough to be arguable. My goal was to rip that comfort away from her, to make the facts unarguable, and the party would be the perfect place to let it all come out. Not from me, but from the people she'd lied to. One by one, I reached out to the party planner and asked for a few tweaks. First, we added a last-minute guest list check-in at the door, where names were scanned for custom badges. Nothing fancy, just an elegant, subtle way to track who was supposed to be there and who wasn't. Then, I arranged for 2 friends from my PR team to act as photographers, not for the event itself, but to capture candid moments throughout the evening. Again, nothing overt, just background coverage, casual snapshots, all under the radar. Next, I asked Lucas's tech-savvy cousin to help me set up a discreet private Wi-Fi network at the venue. Why? Because we'd be tracking device IPs. Ava loved using burner accounts, and she often sent things live during events, DMs, emails, anonymous posts. If she so much as opened one of her sock puppet profiles at the party, we'd catch the IP in real time and log it to the same folder as everything else. But the centerpiece of the plan wasn't digital. It was emotional. I started reaching out to a select group of mutual friends, people I had kept at a distance lately, not because they'd hurt me, but because I wasn't sure where they stood. Some had believed Ava's stories. Some had stayed silent. Some had simply avoided taking sides. I invited them all. And then, slowly, I began to share the truth, not all at once, but piece by piece. A message here, a phone call there, a casual coffee catch-up where I'd show them a single screenshot and let them react. It was amazing how quickly the facade Ava built began to crumble once people saw a crack. She told me Lucas had moved out. One friend said, eyes wide. "She said you were the one spreading rumors about her," said another. "She told me you cheated with Mason before they broke up." Each new revelation chipped away at the version of reality Ava had carefully curated. And each time, I didn't get angry. I just nodded. "She's been lying to all of us," I'd say. "And I wanted you to hear it from me before things got messy." Most of them apologized. A few cried. One even said, "I feel like I was part of the bullying, just by believing her." But I didn't want guilt. I wanted witnesses. By the time the party was 1 week away, I had rebuilt an army, not of avengers, but of truth-tellers. People who now saw Ava for who she really was and had no interest in protecting her anymore. Then came the last step. I called Ava. It was the first time I'd spoken to her directly in over a month. She picked up on the second ring, her voice chipper and calculated. "Hey, stranger. Long time no chat. How's the bride-to-be?" I paused. I figured I'd check in. "Oh, that's surprising," she said, voice tightening just a bit. "I heard from a few people that you're coming to the party." She laughed. "Well, someone forgot to send me an invite." But I mean, it's your big day. I figured I'd crash if I had to. I smiled. Of course you will. There was a pause. That's a weird thing to say, she said flatly. Is it? I replied. I think we both know it's not out of character for you. Silence again. Then her voice dropped, syrupy and cold. What's this really about? I let the silence hang for a moment. Then, just wanted you to know, everything's being documented. So if you plan on pulling anything dramatic, I'd think twice. She scoffed. You think I'm scared of you now? No, I said. But you should be scared of the truth. Because that's the one thing you can't delete. I hung up before she could respond. Lucas stood behind me the whole time, arms crossed, eyes steady. She's going to implode, he said. I'm counting on it. The week leading up to the party passed in a blur. I finalized the speech I would give, carefully rewritten to honor those who had supported us without sounding bitter. We coordinated with the venue, double-checked every camera, tested the Wi-Fi snare trap twice. And each night, I felt something loosening in my chest. Not relief. Not yet. But control. For once, Ava didn't own the narrative. I did. The morning of the party, I woke up before the sun. Not anxious. Not excited. Just still. Lucas brewed coffee while I ran over the checklist one final time. My dress hung on the door, elegant but understated. A silky navy wrap that hugged my curves without shouting for attention. That wasn't my goal. She would try to be the loudest person in the room. I would just have the last word. Lucas kissed my forehead before we left the house. You ready? I smiled, calm and certain. She has no idea what's coming. And for once, that wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The venue was already buzzing when we arrived. An elegant rooftop loft in the heart of the city, overlooking the skyline just as golden hour began to settle. String lights twinkled overhead, jazz music hummed in the background, and a warm breeze curled through the open glass doors. Guests mingled with flutes of champagne in hand, snapping photos by the floral arch, complimenting my dress, hugging Lucas, smiling for the cameras. From the outside, it looked like a picture-perfect celebration. And it was. But underneath the surface, a silent current ran through the room, one only a few of us could feel. I caught the glances, the knowing looks between friends who'd once doubted me, but now stood firmly on my side. The respectful nods from coworkers. Even Lucas's mother, graceful and composed in her lavender shawl, gave me a subtle squeeze on the shoulder as I passed, like she was silently telling me, "We're with you." I made the rounds like any good host, smiling, laughing, thanking people for coming. But all the while, my eyes scanned the entrance, waiting for the inevitable. And right on cue, 26 minutes after the official start, she arrived. Ava, wearing red. Of course she was. A plunging neckline, sequins, hair done up like she was the bride herself. And loud as always. She didn't just walk in. She entered, like a movie scene she directed in her head. Smiling, greeting people she hadn't seen in months like long-lost siblings, leaning in for hugs, laughing just a little too hard. If anyone noticed she wasn't on the guest list, they didn't say anything. Not yet. I stood by the refreshment table, glass of white wine in hand, watching her like I was studying an exhibit. She didn't see me at first. Not until she caught Lucas's eye, and then mine. She blinked, smile faltering just a beat, before it returned full force. Then she walked straight toward us. "Don't make a scene," Lucas whispered. "I'm not," I replied, calmly setting down my glass. She stopped 2 feet away, hands on her hips like we owed her something. Well, look who finally came out of hiding." "Funny," I said softly. I could say the same. Her smile twitched. "So what's this? The perfect little party? Thought maybe you'd eloped after all those misunderstandings." I tilted my head. "You mean your campaign of lies?" Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Careful." I smiled. "You should be the one being careful, Ava. But go ahead. Enjoy the party." I stepped aside. That confused her. She expected a fight. What she got was a trap, one she was already walking straight into. Because while she thought she was controlling the narrative, everyone else had been briefed. The people she once poisoned with rumors were now watching her with suspicion instead of sympathy. Every conversation she tried to dominate was awkward, every laugh forced, every attempt to throw subtle shade met with silence. And the best part? We hadn't even started yet. At 7:45 p.m., I tapped my glass. The music faded, and the room quieted. I stood in front of the floral arch, Lucas at my side, a microphone in hand. I smiled as phones came out and cameras clicked, Ava among them. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I began. This isn't just a celebration of our engagement. It's a celebration of love, loyalty, and truth. A murmur ran through the room. I continued. And tonight, I want to share a little story. About friendship, about betrayal, and about what happens when you underestimate the wrong person. Ava froze. Her smile vanished. Over the last few months, someone close to me has been trying to sabotage my life. My relationship, my career, all in secret. She created fake messages, sent anonymous tips, doctored screenshots, and even fabricated a voice memo in an attempt to make me look like a cheater and a liar. People turned to each other, whispering, looking around. I stayed quiet for a while. I went on. I needed time, not just to gather evidence, but to watch. And what I saw was exactly what I suspected. Someone spinning lies so deeply that she started to believe them herself. I turned slightly, scanning the crowd, and landed directly on Ava. She stood motionless, pale, jaw clenched. So tonight, I'd like to thank her, I said, voice firm but calm. Because her actions taught me who my real friends are, who stood by me, who came forward with the truth, who helped me connect every piece. From the side, my friend Madison stepped forward and handed me a sleek black folder. I held it up for everyone to see. This contains every fake message, every false accusation, every traceable IP address from burner accounts. Verified, matched, logged, gasps. I let the silence linger. And it's been shared with everyone this person lied to, including the companies she freelanced for, the ex she smeared, the family she manipulated. It's all been distributed transparently. No drama, just facts. Ava took a step back. People were turning to face her now. Someone whispered her name. A few phones dropped to sides. I won't say her name, I added, because she doesn't deserve the attention. But I will say this. If you spend your life trying to destroy others, don't be surprised when you end up with nothing left. I ended the speech there. No yelling, no accusations, just truth. When I stepped down, Lucas squeezed my hand and kissed my temple. Madison hugged me. Mason, yes, Mason, walked over and handed me a USB drive labeled with Ava's name and the words, in case she spins again. It was done, but the fallout had only just begun. Ava tried to leave quietly, but people noticed. The photographers caught her slipping out, eyes wide, cheeks red, one hand gripping her phone like a lifeline. By morning, screenshots of my speech were all over Instagram and Facebook. No names mentioned, but everyone knew. A few of our mutual friends unfollowed her in waves. Her freelance agency dropped her by the end of the week. Then came the kicker. The promotion Ava thought was hers. The job she told everyone she had in the bag. The one I got. I posted about it on LinkedIn the next day, with a group photo of my team. The caption, "Integrity always wins." Proud to lead this incredible group into a new chapter. It went mildly viral. I got dozens of congratulatory messages, including one from a recruiter who said they'd been following my story quietly and were impressed with how I handled everything. Meanwhile, Ava went quiet online. No stories, no posts. Her last profile picture stayed up for a while, her in red, smiling like the world was hers. But the world knew better now. Lucas and I took a short trip after the party. Nothing fancy, just a quiet cabin up north. No phones, no internet. Just us. Hiking, cooking, healing. He proposed again one night under the stars, not because he needed to, but because he said, "You've rebuilt yourself stronger than ever, and I want to start our life with that version of you." I cried, of course, but this time, they were tears of peace. We got married 6 months later. Small ceremony, real friends only, no drama, no red dresses. And as for Ava, I haven't seen her since that night. I hear she moved out of the city. I hear she's still trying to pitch freelance work, still trying to rewrite the story. But it's too late. She told so many lies that even she can't keep track anymore. And me? I'm still here, still rising, still calm, still watching. Because the best revenge isn't screaming or fighting back. It's standing in your truth so powerfully that liars have no choice but to shrink away. She wanted to ruin my life, but she handed me the mic, and I told the story better.